We are recording.
Welcome to the Nebraska Capital Projects Fund webinar on subrecipient quarterly reporting. Thank you all for joining us today. We appreciate how much work and effort you have already taken to participate in the Capital Projects Fund and will continue to do so during the performance period as you complete your projects. Then we will go into a guide on how to complete the quarterly report. We will not be going line by line through the report. We have provided instructions on how to complete the report. So we will be doing an overview of the more interesting aspects of the report. And then we will have a Q&A option at the end of the webinar. A little bit of housekeeping. All attendees will be muted during the presentation, but may enter questions into the chat by clicking on your chat box. Please go ahead and chat to all. Don't private message me. We do have a moderator on the call. My coworker, Justin, is helping me with the call today and will be moderating. So he will be monitoring those questions as they come through, and we will discuss them at the end of the webinar. But go ahead and use that chat button to send us questions. Some definitions before we get started. The federal awarding agency for the Capital Projects Fund is the Department of Treasury. The Nebraska Public Service Commission is the recipient of the funds, and the subrecipients are all of you, the entities awarded CPF funds through the commission order dated June 27. The monitoring and reporting requirements, we as the recipient, the commission, is required by the Department of Treasury to perform certain actions. Specifically, we are required to monitor and oversee the subrecipients' use of funds and other activities related to the award to ensure that subrecipients comply with the applicable statutory and regulatory requirements and terms and conditions of the award, pursuant to 2 CFR 200.332. What does this mean at this time? The commission and the subrecipients are required to report the status of all awarded projects every quarter. For subrecipients funded through CPF 1, that first report is going to be due to the commission October 13th. Unfortunately, that is Friday the 13th. We do have a schedule of important dates that can be found under the Information and Resources tab on the Commission website. And let me just show you, for those that might be unfamiliar with our website, I'm going to go back one here. This is for the CPF 1. Be sure to click on that one because there is now a CPF 2. But under CPF 1, under Information and Resources, you scroll down a little bit, there is a 2023 CPF 1 Important Dates document. So this is going to list all of the reporting requirements and when they are due and what period of time the report is due for. This particular report that is due on the 13th is for the reporting period of July 1 through September 30. So we're looking at that period of time for this quarterly report. Once we have received all of the reporting data, we will compile that and submit the recipient project and expenditure report to the Department of Treasury. And as the recipient, we are required to do so no later than October 30th and every quarter thereafter. Subrecipients, we do strongly encourage you to read the instructions provided for how to complete the quarterly report prior to trying to start the report. There is a substantial amount of data that is required, some of which is just dates and dollar amounts, but a good portion of it is narrative. This is information that you might need to collect from other departments within your company, or from others that assist you in this process. So please read that instructions first before initiating. We are also asking those with questions or concerns to please contact the commission. You can send an email to the psc.broadband email account, or you can call me directly. My phone number is there, 471-4571. Any subrecipient that feels the instructions are not helpful in understanding what information needs to be provided should reach out to the commission for clarification. If we do keep getting the same kind of questions coming in, we will look at updating the instructions for future quarterly reports that are due, so that feedback is helpful. Subrecipients that have more than one awarded project, and there are quite a number of you, you do have to submit one quarterly report per project. We've tried to make this as user-friendly as possible. So what we are asking is that you complete the report for the first project, whichever project it is that you choose to complete the report for first. Read the instructions carefully and report only on the project level information for the fields that are project specific in the instructions. Once you have completed that, save the file using the naming convention that is in the instructions. Once you've done that, resave the report for the second project using the naming convention. Then click on the Reset Non-Static Fields button on the first page of the report. And for reference purposes here, for everyone to see what the entire thing looks like, this is the report. This is the first page of the report. When you pull it up, this is the button right here, Reset Non-Static Fields. Clear all fields means just clear all fields. Everything in the report will disappear. The Reset Non-Static Fields button, though, is going to reset only those fields that we have identified that are project level specific fields. So let me give you an example of that. This is the first page of what a quarterly report might look like. This one is for ABC Telecommunications for their Sandhills project. You see here we have the subaward number, point of contact, phone number, all of this information here. I have filled out a brief description on line 18 here for what we would be looking for. Go ahead and take a look at that. You'll see here all of the fields are completed. Now, I'm ready to do my second report. I have saved the first report. I have resaved it for the second report, and I have hit that non-static fields button. And you'll see here on this first page, any of the information that could be static. So the point of contact, the phone number, your tax ID number, your UEI number, all of that remains exactly the same in the report. That's going to be true throughout the entire quarterly report that we have put on our website and emailed the link out to all of you. So anything that we've identified that could be static from one project to the next, that information will stay in the report. you do have the ability to change what needs to be changed. So for example, if for this particular project, Adam Smith is not the point of contact, it will be instead Joan Roberts. You can change that information. You just have to click in the field and type over, and you're fine. Okay, the quarterly report is divided into sections based on the data being requested. To ensure that the subrecipient is responsive, and I know I've said this, but we do encourage reviewing the instructions for each data point prior to responding to that data point. We have validation checks into the report itself. So if a validation error is received, refer to the instructions for that data point. Let me provide you with an example of that. Here is section 3, question number 26. Has the subrecipient initiated work necessary to complete the approved project? In this example, I have clicked on completed less than 50%. If yes, indicate percentage completed to date. I have entered in 0.75. Because I clicked on the less than 50% box, I'm going to get a validation error. So in this case, you get a validation error. This one provides you with instructions on the screen, and most of them provide you with something, but do refer back to the instructions as appropriate. In this case, you would just click on OK. This field here is going to go back to 0, like this one is here, and you're going to enter in a number that is less than 50%. Otherwise, you're just going to continue to get that validation error. Okay, now that we've gone over some of that basic stuff about how we built the report and some of that functionality, we're going to go into some of the specifics of the report itself. Section 1, that is that very first page. I'm going to put it on the screen here again. This very first page here. So while I'm here, I'm going to show we have 2 drop downs. The first one is for reporting period. I don't know why, but for the drop downs, the PDF saves always with the last drop down. So you're going to have to go in and click on the correct reporting period. So in this case, it's going to be this first reporting period from July 1 to September 30th. So next quarter, you're just going to change it to the appropriate drop down for the appropriate period of time that you're reporting on. The other drop down we have on this first page here, this is data specifically required by the Department of Treasury and the exact language that they use. So you're going to select one of these 7 options for the type of owner of capital assets. Number 3 is the subaward number. The commission created the subaward numbers after we received your agreement and attestation document for each award that you received. So we sent an email out on July 14th, 2023 with the subaward number for each individual project. If you do not have that email, please contact us and we will provide it to you again for each of your projects as necessary. That is the subaward number that we need on this quarterly report. The date of award must be June 27th, 2023. That is the date that the commission issued the order granting the awards for CPF 1. And for number 18, the narrative field box is large. It does fit the rest of that first page. But what we are looking for is no more than 3 to 5 sentences. This is a field that will get directly reported to the Department of Treasury. So their instructions to us also indicate that it should be no more than 3 to 5 sentences. So we are looking for something that is high-level narrative, that provides enough detail that we know what the objectives are and the major activities. If you do have, some of you have 7 or 8 projects, we understand that this is going to be different on a project level basis. So that is a field that is non-static. It will clear out. If you do want to, feel free to draft something for your first award and send it to us and say, is this what you're looking for? We'll take a look at it and let you know. We are wanting to provide as much help as we can as you navigate this first quarterly report. Section 2 of the report, again, this is information directly from the Department of Treasury, and we are using their definitions. So before I go into this slide too much, I want to go ahead and show you at the top of the quarterly report for page 2. It does provide a definition for what an obligation is and what an expenditure is. So you can refer to this directly on the report itself while you are completing this section. Okay. Essentially, bare minimum, an obligation is something that has been ordered or for which you have contracted, but for which you have not yet paid out funds. So you've ordered the fiber, but you haven't paid for it. You have entered into a contract with a contractor for construction, but have not yet paid for any of that construction. An expenditure is something for which you have made payment. So in this case, maybe you have a contract with a construction company, you have milestone payments built into it, and you've made the first milestone payment. You are required to provide this information at the project level. It does need to be project specific. So for those that do have multiple projects, we will be looking at this section and expecting to see that the dollar amounts are going to be different from one project to the next. Each quarter, the data in this section must be updated to reflect the current and cumulative obligations and expenditures for the project. Important note here for the first quarterly report, the current and cumulative figures must match. For future reports, the current figure is only applicable to the reporting period itself. So for the next reporting period, that's going to be October 1 to December 30th. So your current figures should only be obligations and expenditures during that period of time. Your cumulative number is going to be for the entire performance period as of the end of the reporting period. So for that next quarter, it's going to go from July 1st to December 30th for your cumulative figures. You are, as a subrecipient of Capital Projects Fund, required to report on community engagement efforts. Each community engagement activity must be reported on the community engagement form. This has been sent out by email for those on our contact list, and it is on our website. So let me show you where you can find that for those who have not seen it yet. Again, you're going to be in the CPF 1 section of our website. You're going to click on the post award materials. Scroll down. Here is the community engagement form instructions. So this will open a PDF with the instructions on how to complete the form. And then we have the community engagement form itself. And for those that have not yet seen the community engagement form, it is 2 pages. This is what it looks like. I'll scroll through here. We are collecting the information as required from either Advertising, which is option 2, or community meetings, town hall, or information sessions. We do have drop downs built in, as you can see. For advertising, we also have drop downs available. Outreach materials. This is just an example here, but we have the Affordable Connectivity Program. In this particular example, I have, as a subrecipient, held a town hall meeting in the community that I'm going to be building my fiber network. And at the town hall, I provided outreach material on the Affordable Connectivity Program, and I provided it in both Spanish and English. So you'll be providing us with a copy of the outreach material that you utilized during that outreach event. Here you're going to provide us with a brief summary. The person who's completing the form, go ahead and save this for each quarter. Oh, let me go back here. We do need the information submitted with every quarterly report. So if you hold 5 different community engagement activities, there would be 5 separate forms that would be submitted along with the quarterly report. We do have to have that brief description as well. We are required to report to the Department of Treasury costs related to community engagement performed during the reporting period and other ancillary costs. So you're going to be doing that in this section, section 2 of the report. We have created an Excel spreadsheet also on our website. This is what it looks like. Community engagement outreach tracking. And I provided an example here of what one of the line items might look like. This is going to be cumulatively tracked. So once you complete the information here for lines 2, 3, and 4, that's not going to change at the project level. So create one for each one of your projects if you have multiples. And then each time you have any kind of community engagement activity, you're going to track the information here. And at the end of each quarter, you're going to be sending that to us along with your quarterly report. It is cumulative, so it's going to build on each other. We don't need one that is unique per quarter. So we're not looking to get one that is just quarter specific. This is going to be cumulative for the entire performance period. Okay, project status. All data in this section is project level specific, meaning it is exact data for each individual approved project. So when you click on that non-static field, this entire section is going to wipe out. So you're going to have to manually enter the data for each individual approved project. Projected dates should only be updated quarterly as appropriate. We would expect that the projected dates are not going to change. Let me show you what I mean when I say that. So here in section 3, projected construction start date, projected construction completion, projected initiation of operations. As of right now, when do you believe construction will start? What is the plan that is in place for when construction will start? Based on when construction will start, when do you believe construction will be completed? When do you believe you're going to be able to start offering broadband service to the project area? This is based upon your project plan as it exists right now. We would not anticipate that these dates change. That does not mean that the actual construction start date has to start on or before your projected start date. This is just what is your plan right now. The actual construction start date is when you actually did in fact start the construction. It is actually when the construction has been completed. These are data points directly from the report that we have to submit to the Department of Treasury. So whatever you're reporting on here is going to get sent to them from us in our P&E report. One thing that we are required to do is collect the information here on 32, 33, and 34. So if you have said in number 1 here that construction has been completed and you provide a date, have operations been initiated? Yes or no? If you click on yes, we need the actual operations date. So the day that you were able to actually provide service to a customer. If a customer calls you on the phone and said, I want to order service from you, you would be able to provide service. That's what that date is. If you have completed construction, but operations have not been initiated, so you're going to click no here. You're going to leave 33 blank. And in 34, you're going to provide an explanation as to why operations have not yet been initiated. So in this case, for example, construction completed, let's say it completed December 30th, 2023, which is the last day of the reporting period. Your explanation here for why operations have not yet been initiated would simply be construction completed on the last day of reporting period. Our projected date for operations is enter the date. If it's something more complex than that, it's been 30 days and you're unable to provide service, they are looking for an explanation as to why the broadband has not yet been made available to the community. Number 35. This is a fun one. So I expect questions, so feel free to ask them in the chat box. So this here is you're going to provide a list of key milestones. Now, before when I talked about the projected construction start date, I was talking about what your project plan is for each approved project that you have. This is what I'm talking about here for the key milestones. This is what your current plan is for constructing the approved fiber network. We expect that the key milestone activities may overlap. And your response to number 35 in this quarterly report and future quarterly reports should not change. It should reflect what you reasonably expect the key milestones are and the timeline necessary to complete each milestone. It is your project plan. We do ask that you utilize the drop downs available. There is no ability here to freeform enter data in the key milestones. So utilize those drop downs. This screen here is an example of what the answer to number 35 might look like. I'm going to give you guys a minute to look through this and read the example provided while I take a quick sip. So as you can see, as you're looking at this, we do have dates overlapping here. This is something we would anticipate that we would see. We're not asking for a ton of information. So No novels are necessary. 1, 3 sentences. It is a brief description. So for example here, electronics deployed. Electronics will be deployed simultaneous to construction as each phase of construction is completed. That's a simple way of saying what is probably a complicated plan on your end, but is a great way to communicate to the commission as the recipient and to the Department of Treasury what your basic project timeline is and what your basic key milestones are and what is necessary to achieve those milestones. Now, this is number 35. Number 36 is the status of each key milestone as of the end of the reporting period. So every milestone listed in number 35 must be listed in response to number 36. I'm going to provide you with an example here. Data provided must be updated quarterly for any key milestone that is the in not started or in progress status. This is an example of what an answer to number 36 might look like for this very first quarterly report. I'm going to give you just a minute to look at this. I know it's a lot of information to take in. All right, I'm going to show you what this looks like on the PDF itself. So for 35 here, again, for some reason, it automatically defaults on the dropdown in the PDF to whatever the last thing is in the dropdown. But these are here, the dropdowns that we have available. Like the example that I provided previously for the answer to number 35, do try to put these in, when you answer number 35, put them in like in the order in which they would be started, like which one gets started first, which one would get started second, things like that. We tried to kind of go ahead and do that in the way that we ordered the dropdown. But obviously, if you're getting permitting approvals and you've already started that process and that was step 1 in your project plan, but design and engineering was step 2 in your project plan, that's perfectly okay. The form will allow you to do that. You do not have to do it in a specific order, but do try to do it in, step 1, step 2, step 3 kind of phase. Number 36 here. So once you see on the page before, I changed this to permitting approvals and I changed the second one to design and engineering. So for number 36, it's already permitting approvals first and design and engineering second. So hopefully that helps as you're completing, that it's going to intuitively do that for you between 35 and 36. Your status options are not started, in progress, and complete. So those are your drop downs. Again, these are for the key milestone and the status. These are not free-form. They cannot be changed. These are your options. In the instructions, we have provided a definition for what each of these key milestones may entail. in addition to what not started, in progress, and complete mean for purposes of the quarterly report. All right, section 4. And this is performance indicators and project data. I find that looking at this, the PDF of the report itself helps. So I'm going to show this to you. This is the beginning of section 4. Number 39 is project technology type planned. And number 40 is the actual. So again, this is using language directly from the Department of Treasury. So planned means what you plan. What is in your project plan? Actual is fiber is in the ground or a wireless tower has been built, is what you actually have done it, and you have a technology type that exists. We expect for each one of the projects that fiber is what is planned, and that fiber is what is actual. I understand at this point for this very first quarterly report that for all of you, well, most of you, if not all of you, are not going to have an actual project technology type at this point in time. Go ahead and just use whatever you put here for number 39. There is no way not to have an option here. So just make them the same. We will take care of it on our end when we report to the Department of Treasury that there is no actual here. And go ahead and note that here. Something like that. And we'll go ahead and remove it when we do the data dump. Okay, so if you anticipate for number 39 or number 40, we anticipate that it's going to be fiber. Contact the commission immediately if a different drop down will be selected. So all of the projects have been fiber-based projects that have been approved. So if at this point in time, it is necessary for you to report to the commission that your project technology type is something other than fiber, you need to contact us immediately. All data points that are planned must be completed for this report. They should not change in future reports because this reflects what your plan is. You're going to populate the actual fields when you have actual data to report. And this is an important reminder that in addition to the PDF of the quarterly report itself, we do also have to collect the project's location report for each of your individual projects that have been approved. That must be submitted along with the PDF of the quarterly report. Now, do me a favor and complete the project's location report before you attempt to complete section 4 of the quarterly report. The reason I say that is that most of the data in this section is going to be summative of the data that is in the location report. The location report is available. I have a link to it here on the webinar, on the PowerPoint here, but it is also on our website under post-award materials. And it is this link right here, CPF1 Projects Location Report Template. And when I mean that most of the data is summative, it's when we scroll down here to where they're asking for the number of locations. And then they're asking for location broken out by type. Residential, businesses, community anchors. All of that data is going to be in that project's location report that you do. So have that completed before you attempt to complete this section. Section 5, community engagement. All right, we're going to number 51 here. First, we do have to collect speed tiers for this quarterly report. This is what your business plan is. So this is what you plan on offering. There are no drop downs. This is entirely free form. This is one of those fields that is static. So you have 5 projects. You're planning on offering the same type of service for all 5. Once you complete this field, this one, all of however many fields you need to do here, once you've completed it for one, you don't have to change it unless necessary. If you're going to be offering different speed tiers and prices based upon project location, or I'm sorry, project area, then that's okay. You would just update this information. But if it's going to be static for across all of your approved projects, when you click on that remove non-static fields button, this is not going to disappear. It will stay there for you. Okay, community engagement. This is number 51 here. Now remember the community engagement form. So over the life of the quarter, you have done, let's say, 3 different community engagement activities. Do you complete the forms simultaneous to the activity? I think that makes it easier. You don't have to go back and look information up then. If you do it right after the event has occurred or after you have ordered the advertisement. Once you are ready to fill out the quarterly report, you just look at the information that you have saved and the forms that you filled out, and you're going to give us the very high level overview here of the 3 forms that you completed. So date, time, location, purpose, number attending, and intended audience. There is instructions on how to complete number 51. We understand that for an advertising activity, for example, let's say that you have, I've started hearing advertisements on the radio recently here in Lincoln for one of a local service provider. So maybe you're going to be doing radio advertising. So there will be no number attending. That field would be blank. It's the time would be blank. The location, and in this case, I'm hearing a radio advertisement in Lincoln, Nebraska. The date is just going to be, there is a drop down field here. You can utilize that, or date field, or you can just type it in and it'll take it. And I think there's close to 350,000 people in Lincoln, Nebraska now. But this would be kind of what we would be looking for. And it's the high level stuff. The actual information about each community engagement activity is going to be collected on that form I showed you previously. The next section is risk assessment. I do want to say one thing briefly. We are asking as a monitoring activity that we're required to undertake as a recipient, that you do provide us with what your community engagement plan is. So we do ask some questions here as to what those plans are. At this point in time, if you do not have a project specific community engagement plan, but you are working on it, or you have a rough outline or something, at this point for this report, provide us with the information that you know as of the end of the reporting period. Okay, then the next section is risk assessment. Okay, we do encourage you to read each question and the instructions for each question. We are asking that you be responsive to each question with information that is sufficient enough for the commission, as the recipient of the federal funds, to understand the policies, procedures, and internal controls implemented by you, the subrecipient. We do anticipate that responses to the risk assessment questions may not change on a project-specific basis. So at the moment, the PDF is set up. When you do click on that non-static fields button, everything that you've done for the first project that you complete, everything will remain the same when you hit that button. Nothing will be removed from the risk assessment section. But if there is project-specific controls or project-specific policies and procedures that you have implemented, then that would need to be disclosed for that particular project. If it remains the same, it remains the same. Our next section here, section 7. This is an opportunity for subrecipients to notify the commission of any regulatory compliance matters and reporting requirements not previously disclosed in a different section of the quarterly report. So this is additional information. Hey, commission, you should probably know that whatever it happens to be. But information that we need to know as the recipient of the federal funds that has not previously been disclosed in a different section of the report. If there is nothing to report, go ahead and enter not applicable and move on to the next section, which is additional comments. So this is an opportunity for the subrecipients to provide the commission with additional information or insights about the approved project that is relevant to your performance and the impacted community. So is there something that the commission can do or a resource that it can provide that would help you, the subrecipient, be successful with deployment and operations? Now, one example that actually came up the other day in conversation was if you have a community where there is, Spanish is a language that frequently we get things translated into. But maybe there is a large German population or a large Indian population, and you want to put outreach materials out there in that language, but you don't know where to go for that resource. This is an opportunity to say to the commission, do you know where we can go to get additional language assistance? We're looking for translators or any type of resource that we might be able to help you with in order to make the project successful. If there's nothing additional to provide or to report, go ahead and enter not applicable. There are numerous attachments required for the quarterly report. So the project's location report, the community engagement forms and attachments as appropriate, the community engagement outreach tracking, and any additional pages to the quarterly report necessary to be responsive to the data being collected. So if, for example, to answer number 57, we provided a bit of area here for you. If that's not enough room, you run out of space, it will no longer take information in. You're going to attach an additional page to be responsive to this question. So these are the things we're looking for as an attachment to the report. At the very end of the report, so let me go ahead and get there. You're going to click here, the attachments that you're providing. There is a certification. This is a certification that is required for us to obtain. Once everything is all said and done, it's complete, it's been signed, it's been saved. Click to attach report to email. This will open up your email. Then all of the attachments necessary for this quarterly report to be complete can be added to the email at that time. And then you can send it to us here, psc.broadband@nebraska.gov. And we will have your quarterly report. Okay. Important reminders. The commission retains the right to follow up with communities during project construction. We do retain the right to ask subrecipients for additional information upon review of the quarterly report. The commission is required to regularly monitor subrecipients. During the performance period, you may be contacted by the commission grant auditor. The commission staff is here to help each subrecipient be successful. Please reach out to staff for assistance where appropriate. Suggestions on what we might be able to do as commission staff to provide additional resources for you to be successful, please let us know. Colin, Carrie, Shannon, and I am Camellia. We are here to provide any assistance that we can. Please reach out to us. All of us do receive those emails at psc.broadband@nebraska.gov, or you can contact one of us directly. I am the grant policy analyst. So I'm working on the capital projects fund every day, and I am definitely here to be of assistance. So now we have an opportunity for our questions and answers. If you have not yet entered any questions into the chat box, you can do so at the bottom of your screen by clicking on that chat button. All right, Justin.
So the first question we have is from Kevin. Is there a minimum or maximum number of community engagement activities per project?
No.
Okay. And the next question we have is from Mary, and will you be sending out slides?
We are actually going to, so yes, we can have the slides emailed out to everyone. We are recording this webinar today. The recording will be available on our website, and I will send out a mass email to everyone with a link to where it can be found.
Great. And so far, those are the only two questions we have. Anybody else? Just jump in the chat box there and let us know.
I just saw a thank you pop up, and you're welcome.
So Sheila would like to know, the project location reporting data doesn't change, does it?
No, we would not expect that it changes, no. Unless something has changed in the project area, like new construction has happened, we would not anticipate that that would change, no. We do understand that I'm not a GIS person, so I'm not going to get this exactly right, but the levels of data and the availability that you might have to be able to provide us with the exact lat and long locations and stuff like that. We know that there was some licensing issues related to that. So if you continue to experience those licensing issues, please do let us know so that we can provide any assistance that we can provide as it relates to that. But otherwise, no, we do not expect that information to change.
Then we have a question from Benjamin. If there has been no community engagement activity performed yet, do we still include some attachment with the first report?
No. So if there's been no community engagement activity to date, which is okay, then no, don't attach any additional forms. There wouldn't be anything for you to report on the form. So there would be really nothing. It would be like just a blank form.
And Benjamin says thank you.
There is that whole section, I think it's section 5, that is community engagement specific. So this is your opportunity to tell us what your plan is as it relates to community engagement and those outreach efforts. I'm not seeing any other questions popping up. There's one. Mailer, yes, mailers is in fact a drop-down option for the community engagement. Let me put that over here on the screen here. So that would be considered an advertisement. So let me show you guys. So we have billboards and direct mail. So I think that's what you meant when you said mailers. So you would use direct mail here. So if it is direct mail, typically, there's going to be, you're sending it to the entire project area. You sent it on September 1st. So that would be something that I would expect to see, something similar to that. If you were to do direct mail to the project area. If it's not project area for the entire project area, but it is a targeted community, maybe you're targeting the Section 8 housing community in a particular section of town about the affordable connectivity program. Okay, other questions? If you don't feel comfortable asking a question in a public setting like this, and you maybe don't want your name identified or something, go ahead and note that in the chat, and we will just provide the question that you submit. But we do want to provide this opportunity for questions and answers. You may have a question that somebody else may not have thought of, and it's helpful to them.
And I think that's it.
All right. Well, everyone, thank you very much. We really appreciate you participating in the webinar today. We hope it has been helpful. We will be providing this recording on our website, and we will provide the PowerPoint presentation. I do hope the information was helpful. If you do have a question that you want to submit directly to us, please do so, and we will respond. Thank you very much, and have a great day, everyone. Bye.